Hello, and welcome to the Kosh podcast. I'm your host, Timber Smith, and once again, I am so happy to be back here with you for another episode, another week of great guests. So, as you know, I am super excited about who I have this week on the show as my guests. This week's guests are Mike Wenberg and Leif Larson. How are you guys doing over there?
Woo! Doing all right.
Great.
Great. All right.
Happy to be here.
Mm-hmm. And I'm happy to have you. The Kosh is happy to have you. All right, we're going to jump in right away. And will you both, can you please share a little something about yourself and what's your connection to the Kosh?
Would you like to go first, Leif?
Sure. Well, I've been living in Oshkosh for about 21 years. I went to school here at UW and graduated in 2005.
Oh, you're a Titan.
I am.
Hey.
And my parents are as well, and so it runs in the family, I guess.
I like that.
And I met my wife Sarah here in 2007, and we have 2 kids, and we live in town here, and I'm an artist. I do a lot of local things here and things around the state and country.
Yeah. Ooh, you know what I got to ask now, real fast. Where is there anything around town in particular that you did that someone would be like, oh, that's Leif's?
I'm modest, so it's hard for me to. I know what you're going. I know what
just give me one.
I don't think people may have seen somewhere.
Yeah.
No, I worked on about 2 years ago now. The mural on the side of the new moon.
I like that mural.
I do too. I'm glad it worked out. It was a wonderful process, and I'm glad it worked out. And shout out to already. To Aaron Bear and Jason Bear for being so awesome to want to go forward with that. So
yes. Mm-hmm. Okay, Mike.
Well, my connection to the Kosh, I believe this is the 3rd time I've actually lived here. I've been here about 9 years now, but it's the 3rd time. I just keep coming back. No matter where I go, Oshkosh pulls me back, and it's a welcomed pull. Yeah, it just when I was younger, my friends lived down here in bands and such, and I always ended up moving down here, staying for a little while, then going off doing something else, whether it was work in Appleton or moving across the country or whatever it was. I always found my way back here. It seems like out of all the Fox Valley cities that I've lived in, which is most of them, this was the one that I always just felt good about. I always felt at home with, and always just actually wanted to be in. So, yeah, I've been here about 9 years now. This time around, and loving it.
I like that. I'm with you. I can't say that I've lived around the Fox Valley. I've worked around the Fox Valley and in multiple cities here, but something about the Kosh, man. Something about the Kosh.
I know.
Keeps you coming back.
All right. So you guys ready to jump into the first segment?
Yeah, I guess maybe just first off, I just got the connection. Why does he have Mike and Leif here? What is the deal? I mean, other than the fact that we are from Oshkosh, we live here, but we are musicians, and we've played in several bands together, and we currently have sort of a digital 21st century band called L&M Transponder that we are in now, and we just love making music, and we love doing it in Oshkosh, and it's great.
Yeah. Okay,
recording music in particular these days.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me more.
Just wanted to get that right in there right now, right at the top.
Hey, look, this is your show. We gonna ride with that. So I want to know, tell us a little bit more. I mean, okay, how long has this band existed? How did it come about? And where are you making your music at?
All right,
I'll take this. So 2007 is when I became friends with Mike, and I had gone through a breakup, and Mike had been in a. I'll let him explain his situation if he wants, but you know,
Divorce.
we've both kind of in a
Divorce.
down period of our life. But a friend, yet again, Aaron actually, Bear, he said, "Hey, you guys should, you know, be roommates and just be friends and move past this stage of your life that you were in." And turns out we, nice. It turns out that we both shared an interest in music, and I also joined the Dr. Kickbutt's Orchestra of Death, which Mike was in with Aaron as well, and that was a whole new chapter for me, and really got me out of my comfort zone. And I had never played, in a band before, but I've been recording my own music since 2000, so I was always in my own space. Anywho, Mike and I started recording music when we started living in this house, which, by the way, is 2 houses down from where we are right now. I'll just
2 doors down.
That's serendipity right there.
You know what that says something. The energy is with us.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And
Leif actually taught me how to record on a computer.
Yeah,
I had never even attempted such a thing before. It was always my little 4-track cassette recorder and doing stuff like that. I had no concept of computers and recording and how it all worked. So Leif pretty much showed me the way and opened up this whole crazy new world for me. And
I grew up in as far as like being in the years where the music scene was I don't know, when I was in my teen years, it was in the 90s, and everyone was still very analog, doing all the analog recordings, and I don't even think the box, so to speak, doing music in the computer, basically. They call it working inside the box. Had started until Pro Tools came out in the late 90s, but...
Oh, I remember that software.
Yep.
That was good software.
It's still great software, and, I mean, we're using Logic, but it's also pretty darn good, especially these days. But, anywho, yeah, I showed Mike that, and it was a whole new world, because by the time, we become friends, it was 2007. I started working in 2000 on a computer because I just never wanted to buy any of that gear that everyone wanted to buy in the 90s. Whether it was the amps or the guitar, I just thought I'm going to wait longer. And I love recording music. Like I just wanted, but I could never get my hands on the gear I wanted because I'd always see those big mixing boards in magazines.
Yeah.
And there'd be some person standing there with all this gear, and I go, oh, I want that, And if I don't get that, then I guess I'm not going to try to pretend that I can. Maybe I was wrong there, but I waited. And then one day, my brother, who he's not here no more, but he passed away in 2003. But he showed me my first DAW, and the reason I bring him up, and I don't mean to make it too gut wrenching, is certainly. It's just true. It's how I got my start. My brother showed me my first computer DAW program, and I named my little Beanpole Studios, which I do my films and my music, after him because it was his name that he gave his own little. Him and his friend made up a company. We're gonna call it Beanpole Studios, and so when he passed, I said, well, I'll take that. I'll just use that. So
that's really awesome.
Yeah, and it's just I use a picture for the logo of actually when Mike and I went up to Upper Michigan, we were hanging out at a campsite
on Lake Superior.
And I was sitting there playing a guitar, got a photo, and I use that photo as the picture, and then it says Beanpole Studios. But so there's a lot of ties to that. But the only reason I bring all that up too is because by the time all that had started in 2000, by 2007 was on my way to having done 1 million recordings on the computer. So when Mike says, I opened up this whole new world with recording on a computer, that's why I was so excited about it. I remember Mike's like, I want to do, I have the analog tracks, which I really was kind of envious of because I love analog recording and all. It has a certain character that is wonderful, but I just never really worked with them much. So I was like, oh, well, what do you know about that? And so he's telling me stuff about that. I'm like, well, I'll tell you about the recording on the computer stuff, and we can just hang out and
basically, it was a great
it.
exchange of ideas, and the fact that we connected as humans, as musicians, creative beings, whatever. And
yeah.
I think it's just carries through to this day. And when we started this project, it's just we always just kind of share and learn from each other and inspire each other.
And it's not as easy to find. I believe this now. I mean, playing music with folks is wonderful, and playing in the band live, like with Kickbutt, has been wonderful, and I love those memories too. And playing live music is such a big, probably the main component for many people in their life with music and sharing and bringing people together. So clearly, I would never want to present any other feelings about that than that, because that's really how I feel about that. But I do have a love for sitting in a room and tinkering with all these buttons on these machines or in computer land, or the virtual version. Yeah, I lost my train of thought.
Bruh.
Yeah, right. Why don't you get us back on track?
Yeah,
Tim?
to get back on track, this kind of started our current thing here. L&M Transponder is the name of the band, and that, I think it was September of 19. We kind of started first emailing back and forth after talking about wanting to do an actual thing that we finish, because we had several little bits out there at different random points throughout the years we've known each other, where we'd start something and get all excited, and then just life would happen and get busy doing this and whatever, and they remained unfinished. And so we kind of geared up for this one, and we're like, yes, we are going to let's just do something and put no time constraint on it. There's no reason to rush, and we'll just do it at our leisure, and make the music that we want to make and do it however we want, and just have a good time doing it. Two friends making music with each other, and so that began around, I think it was around September of 19. Correct? September.
Yes,
October.
it was.
Yeah.
How long did the project take total?
19 months.
19 months. That's
It was at our leisure.
Let me just quickly. I remember what I was going to say, and I'll say it quickly. Finding someone and folks that you can play music with can be. There's a lot of folks around, but when you find certain folks, you can play music with that you connect with, it can be really wonderful and special. I have that with everyone I play in the band with Kickbutt, and Mike in particular. We love rock and roll, and we love music from certain similar genres and time periods, and have listened to very similar recordings. Turns out we have the same Beatles posters. Right now, who didn't, I guess, in a way, but certain very specific ones. Those things matter, and you can have that extra layer of connection where you're like, their tendencies, and that was a big deal for us in this project, because we couldn't be in a room together. And so we'd rely on so many years of that very thing, of understanding each other's tendencies. And I'd hear a recording he'd send me of his voice or his guitar, and I was like, I can almost anticipate without him telling me, what he might be thinking.
Did you do a majority of this during, let's say, what are we going to call it, the pandemic period?
The COVID times.
COVID times.
Majority of it, yeah, probably 85.
Yeah, because we just started rolling on it, and then January, February, March, and next thing you know, everything was shut down. And the concept that we had begun, like, we can just each record our stuff in our own little room, in our own little house, and send it to each other via email. That was our concept from the start, but then it became absolutely necessity. Like, we can't get together to mix and talk about it. We just have to keep sending emails back and forth, or maybe do like a Zoom call or something like that. And it turned into an idea that became absolutely necessary.
That's crazy.
Let me throw in a little, being that the art brain's kicking in here, but let me paint a quick picture for anyone who might not be familiar with what a DAW is. It's a digital audio workstation, which is on a computer. And essentially what you have when you look at a screen is, amongst lots of options, is basically all the tracks that you have laid out visually, and that shows all the WAV files. And you're compiling all those things essentially, according to how you want to compile your song, and whether it be drums, bass, guitar, singing, it's all there, and those things are being compiled. And so that plays well into, okay, well, he can do a guitar, but send it to me. We're working on similar DAWs, and they communicate with each other. So he sends me a track of guitar, I load it up on my DAW, and vice versa, and we're able to sort of cross-check our DAWs and visually see what we're doing, and so it was like a slow build, like sculpture or something of these visual yet of course audio productions and songs, and I just think that's an interesting thing that I thought would be fun to throw in there visually, because that's kind of the thing, is you're in a room, you're looking at the computer screen, you can I see what he sent me, and then I see how that's going to work with what I'm doing visually and audioly, and so the setup. You can email them. You can email a track, just like an email. So it really, technology is pretty awesome these days.
Pretty amazing.
It's really quite
you
easy
can do that
to do
now.
these things.
Look at us derailing your whole format here.
Yeah, we're sorry.
There is no, you know what? Bruh. There is no apologies. There is no apologies on the Kosh, because it is about the guests. And this is good, but you know what? We're gonna get a chance to come back, and we're gonna dig a little deeper, because I've got questions, and I'm not gonna lie, you guys totally sparked my nerd side.
Good.
Because anything with computers, buttons, podcasting has some tracks, things going on. I want to know a little bit more about were there instruments actually involved in this, or was this a situation where I got questions?
Yeah, we will geek out together with you.
All right. So, first segment. What in the world is going on with? That's where you start with the phrase, what in the world is going on with, and you finish it off with something that's on your mind. All right. So, where do we want to start? Leif, Mike, either one of you?
Got something off the bat there?
This is going to just be, it's going to sound like an evasive answer, but it's actually pretty much what I wake up thinking every day. And I just take the last part of that off and just, what in the world is going on? And then I'm not sure. And then I try to figure it out as best I can. I know it's terrible. It's just a vague answer, but it's really how I as a creative, as a human, I think I ask that so much that I don't know if I can pinpoint anything specifically. Yeah, it's probably the vaguest answer you've gotten since you've done this.
But you know what?
But it really is what I like to get up in the morning.
It's an interesting take on it, and there aren't any wrong answers.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that as much as we know things, sometimes we maybe always questioning things is a good thing, I guess, and not if it's too like pointed at people for no good reason, but I mean, or at things. But I try to keep an open mind, obviously, but I'm curious all the time. So what in the world is going on? I don't know. That's why that's what makes life exciting. So I'm trying to figure out a few answers maybe along the way. That's all I got. Sorry.
No, nothing wrong with that.
I'm going to get specific here. Something we deal with now, especially now that the weather's nice. Like to sit on the porch, whatever, screens open, that whole thing. What in the world is going on with loud muffler people? Oh. Whether it be a motorcycle, a big truck, a tiny little car that shouldn't even make that much noise.
Bruh.
It's insane. It's ridiculous. I don't know if it's a testosterone thing, because I never see females driving these cars. Just an observation. I don't know if this macho masculinity, listen to me coming from 3 blocks away. I don't know what it is, but it drives us nuts.
Oh, I'm with you, man. Yeah. I can't take it. You know, why?
Yeah.
Why does the motorcycle... Now, it's substantially smaller than a car.
Yeah.
Why you got to be so loud?
Yeah,
you
got your freedom.
Serious.
You got your freedom. You got the wind in your hair.
Right.
You're doing all that.
It's pretty. Yeah. It looked good. I admire it. Sure. I ain't driving one, but I admire them.
I always like mopeds for that reason. They're like, hi. They're like more like what I expect. I'm like, hey.
Yeah, as a man who owns a Honda Ruckus, I'm with you there, Leif. I am with you there 100%. No offense to anyone who owns
not a moped. I just
but I'm
with
with
you. The mopeds, like, hey, how you doing? Yeah.
Mike, you got that there. That's a great question.
Yeah, what's behind it? That sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's some psychological stuff going on. I'm not sure exactly what I've only been theorizing. But there's a lot more to it, I'm sure.
I'm with you.
Maybe one day I'll set up the spikes across the road, and make them have their flat tires, and then I'll ask them, so what's really up with this? Why do you got to be so loud? I don't think that would end well. I'd probably get punched or something. But, just an idea.
All right. I'm feeling that. So, what in the world is going on with the CDC? Now, when I say that, I am thrilled that we have gotten to this place that we are, that we have, that people who have gotten their vaccinations basically don't have to wear their masks.
Look at us sitting here in somebody else's house right now.
Yes.
We're in your house.
Yeah, this is true.
It's amazing.
And this wasn't so 9 months ago.
Right.
Mm-hmm. There was no visiting. There was none of that. So, but my only thing is this. I just feel like you can't say something like, everybody who's vaccinated doesn't have to wear a mask. I feel like they should have held the warning or the opportunity until it was either just where you just didn't have to wear a mask. Does that make sense? Like where it didn't matter whether you got a vaccination or not, because you already know those who don't want to get vaccinated
are not
wearing masks.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's all intermingled.
Yeah,
So my thing is this, as much as I want them to rush it as much as anybody else, I'm ready to be done with masks just like anybody else. Well, except for in certain public situations where I really don't want to be recognized.
Certainly. I know.
I'll admit that. Bruh. So, but I'm thinking if we maybe another month or so to let it get to a certain level of herd immunity where the warning or I don't know why I'm calling it a warning, but CDC would have just came out and said, we're done with masks, y'all. Yeah, we're good. Yeah. We've got enough vaccinated people. Yeah. The rest, it is what it is.
Jumped the gun a little early, you think?
Well, because what's the climate right now with humans in general? It's like you make a statement like that, and suddenly it's like, well, how do you know if this person is vaxxed or not vaxxed or whatever? Are you going to walk around with a card? Should you be? Nobody's asking for proof on any of this,
right? And
it's
rightfully
weird.
So. I don't think that's fair. That people should be asking other people's medical situations, unless you're comfortable with, the common. You walk in the room, is everybody in here vaccinated? Yeah, I got my, that kind of thing.
Sorry, I don't believe you. Can I see your card?
Yeah, exactly. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I am saying, maybe it was a situation where we waited just a little bit longer and then just came out with the statement that we're done with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mass season is over, and that, I don't think we're that far off.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And so, all right. Ready for the next segment?
I don't see why not.
Okay, we're into word association. This is where I say certain words, and you guys tell me what comes to your mind when we say it. Okay, first word, food.
Yum.
Stole my idea.
Bruh. I love food. Specifically, when you say that, it's like the thing that immediately pops into my brain is like Indian food. I love Indian food.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things. I don't eat meat anymore. I haven't for a while now. And all those comfort things that you used to have, the pot roast with this and that, and, all those like comfort foods from a child, largely meat-based. For some reason, once I tasted Indian food, which you can have with or without meat, it doesn't matter. It was like a hug to my soul. Like the flavor of it, just like hugged my soul. And it's like, Americans do really good like home cooking and comfort food, but they got nothing on India.
What is your favorite dish?
My favorite dish, I kind of jump around a little bit. I go for the masala here and there, just a vegetable version. But I also, there's a sauce called makhani and another one called korma. And those sauces, I don't. The spice blend that goes into making these sauces, because Nicole and I have went on a journey or two trying to make Indian food, and it is a process. Your spices and grinding this, and you add this at this point, and then you put this stuff in a blender, and then you do this. So it's insane the amount of science and tested over time combinations that they do. I don't know what goes on, but it warms my soul when I eat Indian food. I'm just like, this is my favorite thing on the planet.
Okay. What about you, Leif?
Eggs.
Oh,
that was my other thing. I can't believe I didn't talk about eggs.
Wait a minute.
Eggs.
I think eggs are underrated.
Yes.
I mean, I don't eat meat either, so the protein in general, I think maybe it's more of a word, just protein. It's not a food item. It's just I need to get certain things in my system that I feel like since I've gotten more conscious of my health, I'm more interested in trying to figure out what's my daily intake of certain things. Vitamins, protein, vegetables, fruit, yada, yada. I'm trying to just really go all out, stick around longer for the kids or something, So,
Hey.
Whereas I am still very unhealthy.
no, and I wasn't by any means. I wasn't making any references there. That's just speaking out loud. My brain just turned on out loud there on that one. That's basically what I get up every day. All right, I'm very boring with my food.
Hey.
I just want to make sure that I get what I need, and the family we just had like breakfast for dinner tonight. That's why eggs were on the brain. So
Hey, I like some good eggs. Now, I'm not going to lie, since both of you two don't eat meat, it makes me feel some kind of way here because I'm a savage.
I understand.
Give me the chicken, the turkey, the venison. Look, let me get my smoker out. I'm barbecuing things.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm that man.
Well, I think that's the whole thing about it. Like for me, not like we need to go off too greatly on this topic, but it's interesting. Like, I got my thoughts, I got my notions, I know why I do it, and all that, but I have no desire to be preachy about other people about it or like judge them for it.
Absolutely.
I spent most of my life eating meat. Me
too, by the way.
So it's like I'm not gonna start preaching a sermon on why you shouldn't or whatever. It's just like, I just don't do that.
Yeah, same here. That's
Anymore?
how I feel.
No, you know what? The thing is as I get older, I'm at a place where I wouldn't mind heading a little bit more down that path.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I actually like, and I've been telling the wife, we need smaller portions of the meat
Sure.
and other things because the body, as it gets older, it doesn't process the same.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't process the same. So I'm very much kind of thinking I'll probably never give up meat.
Yeah.
And what I probably love about it more than anything is the cooking of it, the art of the smoke, the art of the barbecue, I
get that.
That dedication of 12 hours on this thing that you smoke out or
Yep.
and
keeping that temperature just right.
Yes.
High at first,
A lot of
and bring
respect
it
there.
down. And
Yeah.
But there are some things that, even to this day, I'd say I still kind of, when they come around, I go, oh, okay. And like a good barbecue is definitely one of them.
Yes.
The smells, the grill, the charcoal, all that stuff. But I will say, though, that there is something, and Aaron used to say this, friend Aaron, and I used to think, well, what? And then I stopped eating meat. But sometimes the smells, they're different. You smell meat different, and you're like, sometimes it's not fun.
Okay.
It's weird. I don't know how else to say that, but it's like, sometimes it's like, whoa, what is like, oh, and I don't know how else to say it. Yeah, so that's changed. At some point, it changed.
That makes sense.
I mean, my body just isn't familiar with it now, so the smell is just so different than it used to feel.
We cook some of our own dog food for our dogs, like the wet version.
Okay.
We mix it with dry food, whatever. Nobody really needs to know that, but and we buy meat for them and put that in there and cook it in a crock pot, meat and brown rice and carrots and peas and beans, and the smell oftentimes will make Nicole nauseous. She's like, oh, I gotta get out of here, and it's just like, whereas our friend Jeremy will come over and he was like, oh, that smells delicious. I want to eat that for supper.
And the dogs are looking at him no.
Get away from my food.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
Basically, too, I just want to throw in, like, if Mike and I aren't talking about music, we're probably talking about food. So that question needed to be take a little more time and care. Yeah,
come down to food analogies.
As friends, we'll get together and hang out and talk music and talk food. That's great,
and they overlap always, in some weird way.
That's pretty cool.
Put that spice on it.
Yeah.
All right.
Did you have anything else you wanted to add about eggs? I feel like we didn't give them their due.
Yeah, you got a little look in your eye when I said eggs.
You got very excited.
You're like excited.
To me, eggs is the blank canvas of breakfast.
Absolutely.
Do you have a favorite way to have them?
Yes. I like them over easy where there's still a little runny yolk with a nice crispy piece of toast that I can sop it up with, a little pepper and some pepper flakes. I'm
right there with you, Tim.
I'm going to suggest one thing for your future. It may or may not change your life.
Oh, here we go. I know what he's going to say.
He knows exactly. Do you want to say it, Lee?
No. Yeah, it's your story. I love it.
Tarragon. I keep hearing about this spice, but I don't think I got any in the house.
I always had it in my cupboard, and I don't know why. I don't know where it came from. Like, did my mom give me this? Did I buy this? Why is this in my cupboard? Anyway, at some point, throughout the years, you keep hearing it's good on fish, it's good on eggs. And I think Nicole and I finally tried it on eggs, and it is... I can't even explain the flavor combination. It shouldn't work because tarragon kind of tastes a little anisey. Like that licoricey sort of thing. And
Ooh.
It sounds horrible. You should not put that on eggs. But it's slightly different and a little mild. And I don't know why those flavors work together, but it is incredible. And whenever we travel, we have to take tarragon with us now.
Bruh. All right. That is, you heard it here on the Kosh, tarragon eggs.
Tarragon.
All right. I need somebody out there in the Kosh land to go ahead, try this out, and report back. We need a report.
Definitely.
We need an email. We need something on Facebook. Let us know if you
if you violently disagree. I think we all just want to hear about your experience.
Yes, I need to know. Yeah. Kosh listeners need to know. Okay, cocktails or beer?
Beer. I'm a beer guy.
Beer guy.
I got weird little things. Maybe it's from just being younger and getting older. Like I have little things I like to say. Like shots are always a bad idea. That's like my philosophy now in life.
Oh.
Always a bad idea. It's not for everybody else, just for me. People are saying, "Let's do a shot," and I'm like, "This is a bad idea for me personally." It leads to a road that ought not be traveled for me. Anyway, so I have the occasional old fashioned or something like that, but usually it's like I have one drink and then I'm like, okay, give me beer because that's what I actually enjoy the flavor of, and you can pace yourself and not be ridiculous.
You got a favorite beer?
There is beer. I have several favorites. There's the go-to that we drink on the regular. I think you talked to Nicole about this, and that's Heineken. We almost always have Heineken. But there is a beer from Upper Michigan. I can't remember the brewery right now, but it's called Grand Rapids. As a play off of Grand Rapids, but it's like a cream ale.
Okay.
And it is my favorite thing. And you can find it in the stores around here now. I've found it at festivals. So I'm like, ooh, yes, Grand Rapids.
Nice.
Delicious.
Leif?
I don't drink alcohol, but I do the NA beers.
Okay.
And I have noticed the selection at festival has grown tremendously, and down at Wagner, I know they have some things, I believe, and so I dabble.
What's your favorite now?
I was gonna say, do you have
it's actually Sam Adams NA, actually, the IPA.
Yeah. Sam Adams NA.
That's right.
IPA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice, yeah.
My next question was gonna be, do you have a favorite mocktail? Because I feel like mocktails are underrepresented. Like people be out there drinking them, but no one ever wants to admit it. You know,
I don't know if this is considered a mocktail, but when I am at a drinking establishment, we'll say, and enjoying some time with friends, if they don't have an NA beer selection, let's say, I'll usually just get an iced tea because it kind of has it has a feel like a mixed drink, and it I like iced tea, just the good old
fashioned.
Yeah, I know.
Iced tea.
I'm
There's
painting
nothing
such
wrong
an
with that.
exciting picture here.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. Is that a sweet iced tea? Are we like?
If I'm feeling dangerous,
if
I'll sweeten it up. But most of the time, it's just
iced tea.
Yeah,
I like it. Okay. Netflix. Are we? Is there anything out there we're streaming right now? Anything we liking?
Well, Sarah and I, we like to have a few things on tap. We generally, our philosophy is we're moody folks as humans, so we have to have a little variety. So if we're in the comedy place, we'll have something, and then drama. I mean, we sometimes like to just tuck her up to a Lifetime movie.
Oh,
why not, right?
Hey, look, I'll be the first to admit it. Look, Lifetime
They're great.
is dangerous. And you know what? Lifetime is the thing that you could show up in the last 15 minutes of a Lifetime movie. The last 15 minutes, and you know what you can't do? You can't turn it off.
That's right.
You can't turn it away.
Yeah.
You can't leave the house. And we can't
Gripping.
have Lifetime playing if we plan on going somewhere by a certain time, because I gotta see who the killer is, how they done killed them, or whatever the twist is. I can't leave before I see the twist.
That's
Sure.
they've mastered it. It's like an assembly line of
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, really, they're like, well, let's see, what if? Yeah, we're gonna go there. Yep, cut it, burn it, we're done.
Bruh. Facts.
But yeah, we like to do that. And then for comedy, we've just been a friend of ours recommended just watching Modern Family, and we're just watching that.
Oh,
It's wonderful. We love it. It's
Good one.
It's fun.
oh my God.
We get 20 minutes of if we really want a nice little jolt of good humor. So yeah.
Some of those episodes will just have you on the floor
Yeah.
holding your side.
I'm surprised I haven't watched it. I mean, the show's been on for so long, and I'm like, where have I been? Like this show's been on for a decade, and I'm just starting to watch it now. I mean, I'm busy a lot, but it was one of those moments. But I'm glad that we started watching it. So
Yeah, I like that. Okay, Mike, what do you?
Nicole and I seem to have an affection for the British television.
Oh, she did mention this.
Yeah, so we do BritBox and Acorn and watch a lot of the cop crime mystery murder shows. The writing is completely different over there. It's so weird. It's just they have a different feel, and they're not afraid as well. Like they don't feel the necessity to have to milk a show for like 7, 8, 10, 12 seasons. Like sometimes it's just 3 episodes, like hour-and-a-half long episodes, and it's done. Or maybe it's just 2 seasons or 3 seasons. Or like, we told the story, let's be done. And there's some amazing shows that we've watched on BritBox and Acorn, and it's just well written. It's culturally very different than American cop shows. I think with the whole the lack of guns. If something's really crazy and they have to call in the gun cops. Get the gun cops here,
Oh,
wow!
wow.
And like special cops show up that have the guns. Otherwise, they're just like trying to talk their way out of it and trying to get the killer.
they just yell at people. Or?
It's just very different. But I have more of an affection for the comedy stuff too. Nicole's not a huge fan of British comedy, so I don't watch a lot of it when she's around because she, that whole thing. But aside from that, I guess we've been watching British stuff and Australian stuff because those stations have a lot of Australian shows on them too. And and then we go bounce around to Hulu and all that too. Letterkenny. Love Letterkenny.
Oh yeah, we did that. Then Mike's suggestion that was It's quite a fun adventure.
Canadian ridiculousness.
It's called what?
Letterkenny.
Letterkenny.
And that's the name of the fictitious town that they live in. And it's a short little comedy show that was kind of... I don't think I've ever laughed so hard. And if I wasn't laughing, I was giggling.
Okay.
And it gets a little raunchy. So beware if you're not into that. There's some language, and it gets pretty...
edgy?
Yeah.
Sarah and I would
we'll
watch
use
it
that word.
well after the kids were in bed. And we
Yeah.
turned the volume down really low. And sometimes that didn't work, and we had to just abort. We had an abort look. Like,
But it's very funny, very clever. Yeah, I don't know. We get hooked on different things at different times, but the cop show, murder mystery shows are always a staple.
Okay. Amazon.
Love, hate.
Ooh.
That is what comes to my brain immediately.
Hate.
I've kind of tried to wean myself off Amazon more. Like, if I can buy that thing from somebody closer to home, like, I like buying records, vinyl, that whole thing. And, sometimes you can find a lot of stuff on Amazon, but I'm like, well, we have 2 record stores that I'm aware of. Maybe there's more, but we have Exclusive Company in Oshkosh. We have a Roding Winds in Oshkosh, and I would much rather.
Isn't there another one down Main Street on the corner?
I heard there was, but I don't know anything about it. I don't know if it's true.
I don't know. I just
haven't
keep
heard
driving by, and I keep seeing the window painted, and I think it has a recording studio.
I was
going
to say that's on the other side of the river, right?
Oh,
that's
okay,
a recording studio.
I think it's around
9th and
Sixth, 9th.
yeah.
I was gonna say
Something
around
like that.
6th Street, or it could be 9th. I'm not sure. I just know.
I think it's 9th.
You think it's 9th?
Disaster recording, is that what it's called?
Yes, that's
yeah.
it. Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm always looking
Yeah.
at things. What can I say?
Hey,
Staring
nothing-
at the world around me.
Nothing wrong with that.
I just remember that because there used to be like a sign of a gentleman with his face looked like it got in a car accident. I always would sit there and go, that looks terrible. And then it like disappeared, and then the new sign was there, and that's why I remember the new sign, because I'm like, oh, that's not there anymore. No offense if anyone put. I just
I'll give you.
remember it was like visually very interesting.
I'm gonna give you.
different.
Here's the funny thing. I'm gonna give you the quick backstory of that.
Okay. I hope I haven't said too much there. I just
No.
visually it was like, oh,
And,
okay.
and the only reason I know is the gentleman. I used to be an insurance agent, and I actually assured him,
Oh, okay.
Okay.
and that was him.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he had a really bad. I think if I'm correct, it was a motorcycle accident.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And
I meant nothing by
Leif
it.
feels horrible.
Yes.
now.
yeah, well, no, and he wouldn't. He put it up there for a reason. There was certain messaging he wanted to get across at that time, but it was a real thing. And he was a person like he was one kind of person. He was that big kind of what I would say a stereotypical which biker, big guy, healthy guy that had this accident and changed his entire world.
Okay.
And but he survived and he rebuilt, and but of course certain kind of accidents you're never quite the same.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can give you a quick play-by-play here. I mean, I'd stop at the intersection. I'd look over and I'd say, man, that's absolutely, that sucks that would happen to anybody.
Yeah.
And I would always kind of, as I'm driving, I go, I never really looked beyond that. I'm just a visual person. And I thought, man,
Well, that makes sense.
and then it wasn't there one day.
Yep.
And then my eyes went, well, what happened, And then I saw this record, the word record stuck in my head. So, and my memory just remembers things. So like that.
Oh, that's fair.
That's about it there. But
So, yeah.
I'm glad he's doing okay.
Yes.
Love, hate.
Love, hate Amazon. I mean, they make everything so easy that they entice you to just want to buy more and more. It's so easy. It just shows up in 2 days, sometimes 1.
All right. Shout
Yeah.
out. I'm gonna do a quick shout out to Amy and to Brenda and say something to Mike here. Shop local.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what we try to do. It's like I've weaned myself off quite a bit from the initial onslaught of Amazon in my life, however many years ago that was. And it's like, you can get it here. Let's do that. And the beauty is like of COVID was like, oh, suddenly you didn't have to go into the store and deal with all the people if you didn't want to.
Correct.
You could order that up online from the local shop. All of a sudden, it was amazing. I really enjoyed that.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
I had never ordered on Amazon, and then on November, like, I don't know, it was like 28th last year, I ordered something. And it was pretty fun.
Oh my God.
So I did it a few more times, and then I realized I get why this is a problem for people, but I don't know. I guess I thought, well, I'll try it out mostly because I had no choice in some ways. I did, but I mean, I was ordering in this case some things that I felt it was best to try the Amazon route for this one, and that was my initiation, I guess. And I've ordered a few things since, but I don't know. I'm trying to keep it real with that because I could see where that would go. But I think there are times where it's like it is convenient. But I try to shop as local as I can. I really always.
What I'm going to say about it is, for right now, is the thing that I like about Amazon at this point, reviews. Because I can dig deep into the reviews. Like, anytime, if I'm buying anything over a certain dollar amount, I want to read at least 15 to 20 reviews about it. And
That's
Amazon, people put it out there. They tell how they feel. Right. No, they ain't shy. If they spent their money on it, they put their feelings out there. And I may not buy it from them, but I'm reading them reviews and I'm making a decision due to those reviews, because they don't hold back. They put it out there. If they think it was good, they'll say it's good, and if they thought it was crap, they're gonna say it was crap.
Oh yeah, and they're gonna tell you exactly what happened and why. And and I kind of get lost in those too. Sometimes I'm like on Facebook or something. You're like, don't read the comments, and you have to read the comments sometimes because it's like, oh my goodness, these people are. It's the same thing with reviews on Amazon. It's like, obviously, if it's something you're looking to buy, you want to find out about it. But at the same time, it gets a little off the rails at times. Right. And you're like, okay, this person's obviously imbalanced and they just want to complain to the world. Okay, I get that. Yeah. And other times you see people who are complaining and suddenly you have like 10, 15 reviews all about the same thing that went wrong. And I'm like, okay, I learned something. Let's maybe stay away from that product.
Stay away from that one.
Yep.
I'm with you. Okay. So, you know what we're going to do?
What are we going to do?
I was going to jump into one more word, but I think we're going to go on to let's go on to new segments.
Oh,
look, I'm super excited about the idea of some new segments that Brenda.
Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you, Brenda, for suggesting these new segments. And so this is going to be the first episode where we try these things out. So first new segment is called Kosh Hidden Gems. So this is we're just asking what is, and this is subjective, right?
Yeah.
What's a hidden gem in the Kosh that you think is special?
I mentioned mine already. I think Eroding Winds Record Shop. Just because I think unless you kind of live here or are really into records, maybe you don't even notice that shop on Main Street.
Right.
And I don't know, especially if you're visiting from out of town, you might not have a clue unless you're like looking up on your phone, where's there a record shop or whatever. I don't know. It's just, new records, used records. It's different in feel and everything than the Exclusive Company is. Not bashing on them, but they've been around this area forever, all over Wisconsin, and we've heard his voice on the radio. Say it with me, the Exclusive Company, where you're like, everybody knows about the Exclusive Company. But in Oshkosh, I think that, if you're kind of into records and you've never been to Adam's shop, you should totally go to his shop and buy some records, or go online. His whole everything's online. You can shop on his online store if you're still not ready to go into an actual shop yet. I mean, it's
Adam's
wonderful.
So passionate about what he does.
He's super passionate about it. If you're looking for something and he can get it, he'll order it for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think his record shop, Eroding Winds, is just the hidden little gem in Oshkosh.
Awesome. Okay.
Well, I suppose there's a lot of hidden gems in a way, but I really have been loving Carrot and Kale. I don't know, it's maybe not a hidden gem. I just love that place. I go down there. It's near the studio, and
wait! I've never heard of it.
Oh,
Carrot,
okay.
Carrot and Kale. So to me, it's a hidden gem.
It is a hidden gem.
What is it?
It's a juice bar and
Oh.
et cetera, et cetera. They have like a little shelf or like frozen, what am I trying to say? Like a deli sort of cooler, if you will, that has some salads and different takes on some healthier takes on salads and lunches and some treats and things. But predominantly they are a juice bar and smoothie bar, and it's just wonderful. I love it. You go down there and they'll make you some all sorts of smoothies and juices. I mean, I don't know how many of your listeners are familiar with that, but for me, I mean, I like to do that. I like to have juices and things like that. So it's a good burst of energy and nutritious, and they're really.
Where's that located?
It's located right near the Manila and the New Moon, which are also wonderful too, by the way.
Okay.
Across the street from Manila, and
It's kind of at that basement level.
the basement
correct?
level of
Yeah.
what is the building
What's
there?
that building called?
Yeah, I should know that actually by name, but it's right behind the Beckwith House with the New Moon building.
Okay.
And yeah, you walk right in the center. There's like an arch kind of.
I've seen it, but I didn't. You know how you drive past something, but you don't know what you're looking at,
Yeah.
so you're not paying that kind of attention to it.
Yeah, they have like little decals on the windows of like little carrots and little veggies. They're like white, like little outline, like kind of graphic looking. White and something like that. Decals, and yeah, they it's real. You just walk down the steps, go to the right.
I'm sorry, the way you said it, is that kind of a pun? Decal?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh man, that took way too long for me to process.
Sorry,
Oh, goodness.
sorry.
That was a good one. It's pretty quick operation, and you go down there and you have a short menu, but a lovely menu, and you pick what you want in your drink, and and they make it for you, and you're in and out of there in 10 minutes, and it's a nice little environment they've created, and they're always friendly, and I always just love it. If I want something kind of on the go but healthy, I'll go there, and I try to get over there definitely like once a month, sometimes a few times a month for sure, just to, I wish I could go more, but, I'm not.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. We are going to move into the naughty/heroes corner. So this is an opportunity where you nominate, and it doesn't have to be a person, it can be an organization, it can be anything you want, to the naughty or the heroes corner. Our last episode, or actually the episode before last, was our first time we actually had somebody get nominated to the naughties corner, which that it took a lot of episodes to get to that point.
It did.
So
I was kind of looking forward to being the first person to put somebody in the naughty.
well,
But
maybe don't break the streak then. That's
well, I was going to say, now that it's happened, the novelty is worn off. I'm like, I should just say something good.
all right. So who would we like to nominate?
Got anybody, Leaf?
Well, I'm just going to say for the naughty, I'm going to say lake flies.
Oh,
But not necessarily for what you'd expect, because I understand there's reason they're there, right? And they're doing their thing. But they seem confused this year. Maybe that's fair in perspective to the way things have gone for all of us the last year and a half. But I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. But gone to the park over in Menominee Park there a few times, and it's like, I don't know what's going on. Are they coming? They going? Where? What? Are they? It seems like they're trying to get the party started, and then it's like, and then it's like, well, we're back, and it's like, come on, you can't keep doing this to us.
Right.
we'll take it for a week, and then just give us the time frame. Let us, when you start the party, do the party and get on the bus and go. Back to the lake.
Just come on.
I shouldn't say that word like so vividly, but that's what happens to them. They just wither there, and you find them stuck to your house or something. But I mean,
a lot of happy spiders.
I'm not sure where they're at right now. So I'm just, all those lake flies out there, it's kind of a weird shout out to, can you just, fly or get off the fly pots or whatever? can you?
Oh my God.
Maybe that'll help.
That is fantastic.
Wow. How do I even follow that one out? That was amazing. Oh boy. Well, I guess we'll go back to humans. Seems kind of boring now, but I'll put in the heroes corner. We'll do Kurt Stein and his School of Music, where he teaches all the little kids how to play music, that helps them get instruments, and it helps fuel the passion for music. All right. I guess I don't know how many people are familiar, unfamiliar, or whatever. Kurt Stein, good guy, School of Music, does a lot of good things for a lot of little kids.
Where's he located?
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, his school, please somebody correct me if I'm wrong, is in Neenah.
Okay.
But he lives in Oshkosh and has for a long time.
All right.
I believe, yes.
Kurt Stein.
You get the little kids on the music, you can't go wrong.
I agree with that.
Yep. He does great stuff for the kids, for sure, with the music.
Okay.
I did want to say one extra thing. I wanted to say it for a hero. I got to do, it's probably a common answer, but I got to shout out to the teachers. I have two kids, my son will be 12 soon and my daughter will be 9. And it's been quite the year with the school.
Oh my God. Yes.
And also just, my kids in a way are like heroes to me. I'm learning as much from them. I mean, just because they're at that age where you just want to see them have that last glory in their childhood, the pocket, 9, 12 is so great. We all know, we've been there. So, it's been really tough to watch them not have any options and not have any opportunities to really get that. It's like part of that 3 years of glory, if you will, has been sort of taken from them. And then the school itself, just one way or another, the complications there, and they're just trying to learn, the basics right now. And it's so much weight that got put on, all these kids. So, my wife and I are trying to get them through it and trying to help as best we can, of course, as we should be. But it's the teachers, really. I mean, what they're doing is phenomenal, and I really applaud them and thank them very much. So
I agree.
Is it bad that I keep waiting for you to hit the wrong button and have a really obnoxious sound instead of the clapping? I'm like, you hit the right button again. I was hoping for a little goof up.
It'd be funny if there was a slide flute all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Wait, Timber, how'd you get that already?
You know what? One of these days, I'm sure it's going to happen.
Okay. Good.
I agree with you about the educators, but you know what I even liked more? I liked celebrating the children, because this has been tough on them.
Yeah.
It's been tough on all of us, but I think it's been probably especially tough on the children.
I can't even imagine, to be honest.
All right. So it's that time. We are going to get into the topic of the week. All right. Topic of the week. This week is, and topic of the week is always selected by our guests. And this week's topic of the week is Oshkosh music scene. All right.
It's a little vague, but
It's
yes,
vague.
we're going to start there.
We'll start there. Well, we can go on the journey.
Want to start there, Leif?
Well, I mean, I don't know that of all the people that have, done the music in this city, that I would be an aficionado of being able to say too much about the historical element of this community's music scene. However, having been here 21 years now, I can say that it's amazing. And there's so many wonderful musicians who are incredible.
What are some of your favorite local? Do you have favorite local bands? Is there a couple?
I think the few that I enjoyed, I'm not sure if they're even together, some of them, but I mean, I've always enjoyed certain folks in town who do music, and I think they've had a lot of different projects and stuff.
Right.
So I don't know. Once I start shouting out, I'll feel bad if I don't include everyone, really, because there's so many. I mean, if I'm in the jazzy mood, there's a whole list of folks I would love to go see them play, and then if it's in rock, it's that, and again, maybe that's a vague answer, but I really try to stay pretty on the fringes and just let my emotions, if I'm feeling something, I'll go over here and respect that, or but it seems like no matter what you're doing, what you love, there's a place for you here, with music. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, and the thing that I always find pretty interesting about it is, because not all cities and towns are the same with this. Like, for some reason in Oshkosh, there are a lot of people that care about and write and perform their own music. It's a lot of original bands, a lot of people doing their own stuff instead of just the typical bar band cover songs to get people to dance and buy beer, which, not saying that's bad. There's a total place for that. And some of the best musician people that I know do stuff like that, where they can play all these songs by all these people, and they bring people a lot of joy with that. But for some reason in Oshkosh, it is so centered on original music, writing your own stuff and putting a band together and doing it or whatever. Or I find that fascinating, and it's been that way ever since I can remember, ever since I first started coming around to Oshkosh in the 90s and that whole college age time. And it's like, it's been fascinating, and it ebbs and it flows like anything else, but it never stops. It just seems like a very important part and an important thread that runs through the musicians of this town for some reason. I don't know why
Agreed.
that is, but it's fantastic.
I totally agree with that, Mike. And my experience the last 21 years has been the same. And I actually recall, I don't remember when, we'll say 10 years ago now, sitting with Tom Thiebaud, who has been around this area playing music for, I think, 50 years now, something like that. And we sat for like an hour over at Beckett's, and I was having an art show, I think, and we were talking, and he was telling me about bands he was forming in the 60s, early 60s.
Wow.
In town here. And was telling me about all the band posters he used to make and stuff, and he even gave me a band poster, which I still have, Tom, if you're listening. But, to hear those stories, and he's, now in his 60s, and, to have him tell stories, and then I'm going, that sounds like now. To Mike's point, I mean, it's like there's a certain thread that, the way he was explaining things then sounded like exactly how you'd hear an enthusiastic, and I don't mean that as a disrespect to Tom. It's just, I think it's a testament to as Mike was saying, to the cities. It seems to draw some sort of energy for people to want to really share their original ideas, rather like Mike was saying, than maybe finding a different way of expressing music in a more cover band kind of style, maybe. And I don't know. I have no idea if other cities share this or not, or per capita or whatnot. But it definitely is a strong point in the music scene for sure. Is that there's a lot of willful folks that really have no problem going out on a limb and saying, let's do this. And I think that's pretty cool.
I got a question. So, you guys got a new album, right? We talked about that a little earlier. Are you going to get out there and perform? Is there going to be places we can actually see you two making this happen?
We have talked about this from the get-go, that we had no desire to play this stuff live in front of people.
No live at all?
But I make I have no...
Not going to say never, but...
I mean, my mother used to always say, don't close doors, and
Yep.
she's right. So I can't say that I'm official on that, but I'm pretty stern with it.
Yeah,
because
it's not the intention of why we started doing collaborating and writing stuff together and making music. We're just like, we love doing this. We love writing songs. We love recording the songs. It's really hard to form a band. We've done it before. We've been in a little punk rock band together years ago, Atari Pig.
That's right.
It's hard to find people and keep them together and try and make a band happen. Like, for any length of time. It's really a special thing when you can have a group of people that you get together with and make music with for longer than a year.
Oh. Yeah. And, we both, again, we said earlier, we play in Dr. Kickbutt's orchestra. And I think, I know if I can speak for myself. I don't know about you, Mike, but I feel like I get my needs met there.
Your live
fix. My live music fix. But I really am adamant with this with respects to the recording, because it's important to remind the listeners that music comes in many forms, and the appreciation can be in many ways. And for some of us, our brains tend to take some music in different ways, of course. And I've always known, I fell in love with the studio from day one in my life as an artist and as just a studio guy, like recording music or whatever. Even if it's, with music not as professional as like those guys in the magazine, I was always looking, oh my God, look at that, I like to think, though, that I've been at it 20 years and getting better at it and enjoying it and keeping myself honest. I'm truly excited when I sit down to do something in there, and I think that is important. Like, are you really having fun, right? And I'm not getting any younger, but I don't really care. I think that when you love something and you love getting up, to figure it out 20 years after you started, and you realize it's still just as exciting and thrilling. Like, well, why would you not have some time in your week, month, year for it? And this year, of course, with the COVID thing, it was very, very good opportunity. But
we're like, yes, it's our time.
Yeah, but as far as but I think it's
no expectations to play in front of people.
I'm sorry, I'm getting off the track. But basically, what I'm getting at is, I understand that when you hear a record, you think, well, then now I need to go see them, or there's a sort of a natural progression in our thoughts generally as people. We've one way or another kind of just gathered those. I don't know if I want to say the word like a bias or a stereotype, but because it's not really, it's just natural for us to think, well, you hear the sound on the record, and where are these people, and where can I see them, and I get that, but I just don't have any interest. I mean, again, we have the band that we play in, that's Jug Band, and it's really the context I prefer to be live. But when I build a song in a recording, it's like a painting. I could spend a week just thinking about how I want to present my vocals, and maybe only 10 minutes a day for, I'll be doing something. Oh yeah, that would be great, and I just take a note, and I get back to it, and it's like a slow building process. It's just like it's always in the house, so to speak, and I can walk by and go, oh yeah. And I love that. And it's just like a painting. I have a painting studio in the house, in the kitchen, and I just walk by it every day, and I have brushes, and whenever I want to work, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, and I have studios downtown. As long as there's a wall, it's a studio to me, right?
Okay.
Right. As far as art. So yeah. I've learned the habit, and I'm a studio guy. I like being in a studio. There's something about it. It's magical for me. My mind gets going. I like the solitude. And so I love engineering music too. I love sitting in front of all the stuff and figuring out how to balance it, how to get levels right. Why would I lie to myself and say I need to go now and run on a stage because it's such a different world, and I don't mind though. I've tried it. We did the rock band setup. It was fun to a certain degree, but I have kids, I have a family, and I'm like, this for me is wonderful. And
is it hard staying up till 10 o'clock just to start the show?
Yeah, I know. I know that doesn't sound like we're old or anything. No, but really, it's and I know who I am. So that's me. And if people don't enjoy that, I can't tell them what to think. But if they want to listen to a recording and they want to hear something that I've put together, Mike's put together, we put together, then that's what we'll give them. Okay, and so that's about all I really like to say about it.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because how do Kosh listeners hear this album?
Well, there are many ways. This whole thing was kind of the first time. It's our first album together, really, like officially, that we created and decided to put out to the world. And so we spent a little bit of money. It really doesn't cost a lot if you want to get it out there in the world. The hard part is getting people to click on it, and
I have learned this through podcasting.
Yes, oh boy, we could talk just about that for hours. And anyway, the band name is L&M, L the little and sign, the squiggly thing, the letter M, and the word transponder. And we have a Facebook page and Instagram, and on each of those there should be links. There is a website that we'll try and get it's the link I sent to you, Timber.
Okay.
It's like Here Now is the website, but I'm sure it has our name in it or whatever. We'll get that to you so you can put it up. Yep. But from that particular web page, it has all the places where you can find our music. It has a Spotify link. It has a Apple Music link, an iTunes link, and several other things. You pay this company and they put your stuff out and they make it happen and magically go to all the places on the internet.
Oh, I know about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's great. It's wonderful. It's weird because we've never really done this before.
Yeah,
it used to be just print some CDs, burn some CDs and give them to your friends, right? And hopefully they listen to them. So it's interesting, just
because I guess to Mike's point there, and to what I said just before. I mean, as much as maybe there's not a presentation, as the bridge is usually the stage. We're creative people, and I think all creative people have a healthy amount of vainness in us. We want people to see what we did.
We're here to talk about our record.
We joke we're a 21st century band, but the access to all this stuff now, and it's a bottom line. I mean, people know how to get to things. Basically, they know what a website is, and what go on here and log on to there, or click here. I mean, people, the language is pretty easy now, and I think it's a little easier maybe for folks to understand that you don't have to do something exactly a certain way in order for it to be considered.
Oh yeah, we'll be sure to in the podcast notes, we will be sure to put some links in there so people can check out this album.
We would love that. Listen to it, even if you hate it. Just so you can tell us you hate it.
It's a double album too. So
double album,
28 songs.
Let's put the challenge out there to the Kosh listeners. We would love some feedback. Please put feedback out there about the album. Please put it on the Kosh Facebook page, or send emails to askthekosh@gmail.com. I will be more than happy to share with Mike and Leif here. And the point is you do create things so people can consume.
Yeah, well, you want people to like your stuff. I think that's just the very human part of it. I'm highly suspect of people when they say they truly don't care. I get it. Depending on your thoughts on humanity and the people that you've encountered in life, I totally understand that. But I think, who doesn't like to? Good job. I thought that was cool about anything you did. People love that affirmation.
I think so.
And especially when it's something like music that comes from the heart, comes from the soul, comes from that deep place, even if that deep place is ridiculous and funny and interesting. Yes. It's like you want people to at least give it the time of day, or you want people to like it.
I would say that to your point, Timber. I think you're right, but I also think I would say it's more like an equal parts, and then it's a matter of what phase you're in. Like I'd say the enjoyment of doing it truly is just, I can't get over how amazing it is. Still, I look at a guitar and I go, oh, I see a DAW screen, and I go, I can't wait to get in there and start picking that thing apart and figuring out what's going on there.
Tinkering.
Yeah. Oh, it's the greatest. It's just so much fun. It'll never get old. But that's the first part of it. And then once that's over, then I'm like, I don't want to do that for now. Like, I want to see what people think, and so it's more of a phase thing. And it's like whatever phase I'm in is what I would say in my heart is kind of like, but that's part of the equation for sure. You got to do the sharing at some point, or it's kind of like, I don't know. Maybe that's a little too private,
Do we have, give me the 3 favorite songs on the album?
I had a weird take on this. First of all, I will say the album title. It's called Ornithological Hallucinatorium.
Oh, I can't spell that.
Oh, I have to look it up every time.
Yeah, my son wanted to listen to it on Spotify, and I said, good luck trying to spell it. That's why I left to go do the podcast.
there's a little story about that. We can briefly touch on it. We were talking about, we have these songs that we compiled or whatever, and we realized when we write together or whatever, certain themes just present themselves. There's food as a theme. There are several references to birds and things throughout the album, and there's certain things that kind of crop up, and at some point,
narratives in general that sort of seem like they're kind of connected, like a story, even though they're not technically.
And we never talked about that. These things just kind of evolve and happen in the context of writing these songs and making this project. And at some point, Leif, I think, just offhandedly said, wouldn't it be funny if the whole thing was like just one big trip that a bird had? Like a bird got out and was crawling around the floor and found some little pill or something and ate the pill. And then this whole album was the trip, the hallucination that he goes on for the next hour and 45 minutes or whatever it is.
I thought a lot that morning in the bathroom when I woke up. So
and I had
a lot on my mind.
Yeah. I just thought that was hilarious. I was like, oh my goodness, that's so ridiculous and so fun. And
can I add something, Mike?
Yeah, definitely.
The first song is called Cockatiel, and the lyric is the bird hits his head on the ceiling and falls to the floor. But the last lyric is
the very last thing you
the
hear
last
on
song
the
is
album
one of Mike's songs, and
it's a sample from like an old like informative film from the 50s or something about radioactivity, but it's like, take your place on the floor, on the floor, on the floor, on the floor. It's like it's weird, just weird serendipitous.
And one like the fifth word in the whole album, because it's cockatiel. The bird hits his head. It's like the bird hits his head on this. So it was like, the first song he's hitting his head, the last song he's falling to the floor. And everything in between is the crazy,
whatever you want to
story,
call it.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure version of audio that we went.
It was beautiful too, because I was like, well, if this is our whole concept, there's no way. It's a very loose concept, but everything makes sense, and it's all up to the listener what might be happening around this bird to make them start thinking of this, and then this happens, and then suddenly this next song is about this, and it all takes place during COVID times and all that. It's ridiculous, and it made us laugh, and so we stuck with it. We're like, yeah, that's what we're doing.
No, that's kind of fantastic.
We knew laughing though that we didn't expect anyone to download that. Upon hearing it or looking at the record, the picture, the painting. I made a painting for the cover, but since we're here, we thought we'd just a little inside scoop.
Just
fun
throw
little,
that out
little
there.
thing that we like to.
Ridiculous way to tie it all together. But, here. Can I elaborate on your question? You said your 3 favorite songs or whatever? Something like that?
Absolutely. Because I think it's a good point. And in case Kosh listeners are out there and they're like, okay, we're gonna go check the album out, but you kind of always want to know where to start from. Like, give me what you think is hot.
Here's my take on this, and I'm gonna, as long as this is cool with you, I'm gonna ask Leif to name his 3 favorite of my songs on the album. And I will name my favorite 3 of his, because there's 28 songs on the album. That's only like 6 of the.
I'd love
28.
I'd love to,
because I have no idea what he's gonna say.
Oh, that's
and
fantastic.
so I'm very curious and putting him on the spot.
Although I have to put the bracket up front that it is quite difficult.
It is.
They're all fun because we worked on them, obviously, right? And we know them all very well, and there's so many stories within each one, But I just always had such a connection with Turpentine. It's not because I'm an artist either. And this is no particular order. And then I love Waving at the Amish. It's just a great groove. Yes, the title, I'm sure the curiosity just went, woo!
Waving at the Amish.
And I like Guy on Fire.
Okay.
I like that one. I love because, I've always told Mike his storytelling is wonderful because he can tell stories that have such a dark side without it seeming dark. Oh. And that's not to say that's his MO necessarily all the time or at all even, but I think like you have said that you enjoy that. But
it happens once
I really have always admired Mike's ability to lyrically tell stories in a very kind of like... you have to dig a little deeper to find what he's after, but it's there. And at first glance, it's not what you think, and not always, but in some cases, that song in particular, because the song is upbeat and has this kind of flavor where you're like, oh, okay, it's like they're on the campfire or something, But no, it's like someone's on fire, and his friends are like, let's have a beer, and he's on fire.
That's after he's dead already.
Yeah, but
sort of an ode to the guy who burnt up before.
No, there's more to the song than that.
There is.
And I'm not going to speak too much more for you.
I would say
that.
it's dark humor. As much as that can be humorous. It's I don't know. I guess there's stories behind all these songs or whatever.
Yeah, and I don't want to say I don't want to take your song out of context, right? I mean, there's a lot of things. Again, that's what I guess I'm saying is like Mike's songs have a lot of layers to me, in many ways, sonically and with his lyrics that I think are worth listening to several times to get into it, because he has word plays that they don't jump out sometimes, some certain ones, and then they get in my head later on. I start to go, oh,
I got it. Okay.
The breakdown on Waving at the Amish in the middle of that song is just like, I've always just been like, oh yeah, turn it up.
Yeah. Mike, your turn.
All right. Just recap: Turpentine, Waving at the Amish, and Guy on Fire.
Yes, and I must say, because why not? On Turpentine, the second he sent me that track with the guitar and his vocals and some things he had been mixing in, I was like, this reminds me. Yeah, this is no joke. Very specific.
Very visual.
A California raisin in an inner tube going down a river. Like, what's up?
Bruh. I don't even know what to do with that.
Very specific.
I just like writing songs to get the story of what it makes Leif think of.
All right, that's fair. Now I have to. Now I'm gonna have to go listen because I want to know what that sounds like.
Funny.
He might not have the same feelings I did about it, but there's just this kind of. I'm doing this thing right now, everyone, where I'm kind of waving my hands and going woo, like a wave. It just has this fun groove, and it always makes me think of that. So,
all right. My 3 favorite Leif songs on the album. It's the opener, the very first song, Cockatiel. I love it because it's a fun little story. It's partially true, something from his childhood. Your parents' friends or something?
My parents had a cockatiel, and
it was actually your parents'
when I was
cockatiel.
Really, really young, like a baby. And yeah, they had it, and they regretted buying it after having a child. And the bird was always flying around and hitting its head, and it was sort of sassy, and they still talk about it. I think they
whistled Dixie, though.
Yeah, it whistled Dixie, and it would like bite my parents' friends, and it was just like really strange entity for a while in the house. The variable needed to go, so my mom was like, she put her foot down, like pointed at me, and my dad went okay.
But it's a catchy song. It's catchy. It's just one of those where, as soon as I heard it, it was in my head for days. I'm like, oh, I love that song. It's so pleasant. It's so enjoyable, so fun. So that's the first one that comes off the top of my brain here for a favorite of Leif's songs on the album. My second one, I think I will go with Bohemian Rats, because I just love that song. I love everything about that song. The sound, the blend of the guitars, the dissonant parts to it. It's a wonderful song. You have your children sing on that one too, correct?
Yes, I do. And I actually joked with them that the parts I've had them sing, the words is... rats, and then there was rats. One other song where they said something like it was kind of like weird, and they were like, "Why do you always have us sing?" They like called me out. They're like, "Why do you always have us sing these obscure words like rats? Like what? Like are you getting at something?" And I was like, "No,
just trust me.
Just need you to say rats. Have a nice day. We'll talk to you soon, kids." They're like, "Okay, Dad, rats, huh?
Yep.
There's purpose. Don't worry." But no.
Yeah, love that song.
It has a nice effect, I think.
And then the third one that comes to my mind is Gringus the Fish.
All right.
About a piranha who talks constantly.
Mm-hmm. I have a piranha that I found in a thrift store. It was like on a little pedestal.
Yeah.
And it sits in my music studio, and it just sits there with this really wonderful look like, well, okay, no one can see me, but yeah. Just imagine a piranha wanting really badly to eat something, and it's like
Yeah, it's
froze
like a
me,
little
and now
stuffed
I'm sitting here
taxidermy
forever. What did you do that for? And I'm like, I know, it's so neat. And I wave at him, and then
That's Gringus.
I wrote a song for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, any last things you want to share with the Kosh audience about this new group, this new album?
Yeah, I guess I would just say please give it a listen because we love doing what we do, and if nothing else, that comes through. It was a blast making music over 19 months with one of my best friends in the universe, and just somebody who I have a creative connection with. Everything about the process was great, except for sometimes you lose your mind in trying to mix things or whatever, trying to get it to sound exactly like you think it should. But those are all humps and bumps in the road, and you get over it and you get through it and you conquer. And I don't know. It was just I'm super excited that we did this, and we made 28 songs that we felt were good enough to not discard half of them. Although Leif probably has an album's worth of songs that he didn't use on the record.
It's possible.
That's a whole side note. I don't know. It's a fun journey sonically, lyrically. It's us being creative. It's a very eclectic sort of record, sort of album. There's not one sound to it. It gets a little bit folky here, a little bit country there. It gets noisy and rocky here. It gets dissonant and strange over there. It gets a little sweet and sad over here. It's all over the place genre wise. I think that was
it's reflective of how the year went, I think, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the setup was such that Mike and I were saying, when you're in a band and you go to a practice place, let's say, which is wonderful and all, we've done that, and a lot of folks do that. It's wonderful, a great way to spend time with friends and everything. But it's so what it is in the context, and so you have to be prepared for that moment and ascend in that moment. And there's something really wonderful about when both the people in a project like Mike and I have been have a context where when we have an idea, we don't have to be in the room in that moment to really hone in on it. We can wait and just go into in our PJs if we want to do, into our studio in the house or a little space we're recording, and then just do the idea when it's convenient. And so we really could get to the core of what we wanted and not let the context of it, we have to do it here at this point at this time, and otherwise we don't have access to being able to really execute that idea. It's a really wonderful way to get the most out of what you really want to do. Is whenever we needed to lay something down, we had the freedom to do it and not have someone else have to be there.
Yeah, the fact that we did it
in our own
ourselves
spaces,
in our own little rooms, and just too, like, creatively, like, I think from the get-go, I remember in the early conversations, it was just like, we can do anything we want. We don't have to be a rock band. We don't have to be this type of band or that type of band or this subgenre that only 10 people in St. Louis have heard of or something like that.
It's freedom.
We can do whatever we want, however we want to.
As much freedom as possible. I mean, the music industry, as we know, is just littered with history of as many good things as it's been. It has a lot of history of being quite suppressive of the creative process, and I've always tried to steer free as much as I could of anything like that, and try to find a way to empower my creative, life. So that's important, I think, for anyone that wants to do anything in the studio with music. I'd say go for it, because it's really quite wonderful to be able to play with your ideas however you'd like, and not feel like there's a time frame.
Whatever you want, however you want to. Just give it a go.
We live in a great world for that these days. It's so amazing.
Thing. I just said, do your thing, man. But truthfully, and it's, I guess you could say it's Kosh rock. It was birthed in.
Oh, that's a new term.
Kosh rock.
Not if you've been around a while, Tim, bro.
All right, fair enough.
No, but it was birthed out of us living here, and our surroundings and all that definitely contributed to it in some way, shape, or form.
I think 19 months you go through so many emotional differences, in life. He has a lot of time, and so I was able to get all the highs and lows just by the nature of waiting until the high would happen, and oh, that's a great thing. Oh, let's do that. Or a low would happen. Oh, that's right. Let's talk about that. And again, not having to rush. If you have to rush, you might have to force all those emotions into a song and say, well, I'll write a sad song. I'm not really sad. Okay. But like, I just waited, you just wait. Oh, now I got it. It came to me. This happened. I need to do that now. Okay, let's go do it. And you get really to the core of it. It's kind of cool.
All right. Well, this time that we start wrapping up.
All right. I figured it was coming.
All right. It's about that time. First, I would like to thank the Kosh listeners for once again tuning in and checking it out. Thank you guys for being guests. Appreciate this. I'm eager to hear the feedback. So once again, Kosh listeners, please take a little time, check out the album, give some feedback. I want to hear what you guys are thinking. We are always a work in progress. I want to hear from you. I want to hear ideas. If you want to be a guest, I want to know that too. Please reach out. Email at askthekosh@gmail.com. Once again, that is askthekosh@gmail.com. Or you can also send messages through Facebook. I've gotten a couple of people who've contacted me who would like to potentially be guests, and I'm excited. So they may be on future episodes, and I think you're going to like who they are. So once again, please reach out. How did you two get on the Kosh here? I believe that was an email.
I started harassing you.
I like it. All right. So now my favorite part of the show.
That's the sound I was waiting for.
It is shout out time. All right.
Ooh.
Time to get these shout outs. So let's start them off.
All right. Well, first off, I just want to shout out Nicole Waltemath, my partner who did the show some weeks back with you, her daughter Hannah, my mother, especially for always encouraging me in music and never, she was just always like, yeah, do that. You like guitar, play guitar. Yes. And there's probably a lot of horrible parents out there in the world. And my mother was not one of them. She was very encouraging, and she was super excited that Leif and I did this whole thing too. She was excited. Send me the link. How do I listen to it? I want to hear what you did, that whole thing. So I always have to shout out my mom for encouraging me in music from the time I was a little kid. My friend Jeremy, he was our COVID buddy throughout COVID. He used to come over once a week. He was our one person that we allowed into the house, and been friends with him since I think freshman year of high school. So it's like a long running friendship there. And also I would like to shout out Dr. Kickbutt and the Orchestra of Death, every member, past, present, and future, just for being such a wonderful outlet in my musical life.
All right. Leif, what you got for shout outs?
Well, my wife Sarah, for sure, and my kids, Lyric and Lily, and my parents as well. Also very supportive parents, great parents, and certainly get a lot of inspiration from them to do a good job myself. So, oh man, let's see. I feel like there's so many folks, I could go big time here and talk about, those in the medical industry for all the things they've done this last year. I mean, it's probably a common one, but that's gotta happen. All my friends, you know who you are. If you don't, well, okay, but that's about it. I would be terrible at like Jeopardy. I would. All
right. All right, I got a few shout outs here. I'd like to send a shout out to those UW Oshkosh graduates who just walked across the stage this past Saturday. There was 4 commencements. Congratulations out there. You are Titans now. We are proud. Hail Titans. Shout out to my man Josh, who randomly brought me some egg rolls. Bruh, let me tell you something. If you didn't know, egg rolls, I put them in the air fryer and they did what they were supposed to do. So that's what happened, man. I just want you to know, yes. Shout out to all my Alpha brothers out there, to my fraternity. We've been doing some things. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the support. Got some things in the works, on the horizon. I'm glad that y'all got my back. All right. And that is it. So now we are at the end. And there is only one thing left to do for the Kosh, and that is the words of wisdom. So I am super eager to hear these words of wisdom. You guys started kicking some wisdom a little earlier. So now I'm curious. Where are we going?
Well, you're referring to when I was saying that I don't know what's going on most of the time. I joke. I try to keep up with what's going on, but I if I could say anything honestly, I try to get some sleep. Seriously, it was a big deal for me. I really tried to maintain the sleep if you can. Yeah, it helps. Everything else seems like easier when you have sleep. And I don't always follow what I just said. So
that is wisdom.
Yeah. And I like vitamins in the morning, but that's not necessarily. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. But everyone has to sleep, so I guess that's a good one.
All right. My words of wisdom would be, I think throughout my whole creative journey, this has been a thread in something, work with what you got. It doesn't matter if you have the money to buy the expensive guitar, the expensive computer, or the handheld tape recorder or whatever. If you need to express yourself, look around and work with what you got. A cardboard box makes a great drum. You don't have to have the expensive guitar. You don't have to have the expensive amp. It's nice when you get to a point where you can buy those things. It's great, but I'm talking on a musical level because that's like my main passion in life. But I think this applies to anything and everything. Look around, work with what you got, and don't fret too much about what you don't have.
It's a great one.
I think that is excellent advice. Thank you two so much for being on the Kosh. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Timber, for having both of us.
The Kosh.